entered Madinatul Munawwara and he saw the Jews were fasting. And he said, what are you fasting for? He said, this is like, if you do it, you will be sinful. Okay? Close to haram, but not okay? Yeah, that's just a jurisprudental view. It's not proven from Nas al-Qat'i, but it's proven from Nas al-Madhhabi. Okay, so therefore, then 5 days, don't fast, you will be sinful. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us specifically and instructed us not to do so. Okay, so they are actually when fast. Otherwise, any other day you can fast. Okay, as we said, Friday you shouldn't. But if you did, you will not be sinful, but you shouldn't. Does that make sense? I'm really clear with you so far. I want this to be reactive because it's important. This is not a lecture, it is a lesson. Okay? And it is important that we all learn and take something away that you can learn yourself and tell your family, inshallah, as well. The sad thing is that when there are these programs, there's not enough people. If it was khatam, the masjid would be full. Right? Okay? And this is for them. Right? Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslimat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, to seek knowledge is farz upon every believing man and woman. Which knowledge? The knowledge which you have to learn to fulfill your obligations. Okay? So it's not because fasting is farz, you have to seek knowledge. You cannot turn around and say, I didn't know that broke my fast. Yeah? Your fast will still break. And it's no excuse. You didn't know because you didn't learn it. It's like a guy that drives down Preston New Road at 70 miles an hour and he's been doing it for 5 days. And then on the day number 6, the cops stop him. Right? And they said to him, you're speeding. And the guy goes, I didn't know. Will he get a ticket? Of course he will. He should have known. That's his duty to learn. He's still going to get a ticket. He's still going to get banned. Okay? So in the same way, a person must learn their obligations. And inshallah, where there is an opportunity to learn, please do attend. Okay? So, carry on. The next is the act of fasting. What is the act of fasting? Okay? When we say in fasting, what is it? So fasting, first of all, is from the break of dawn till sunset. Now, there's a lot of arguments and there's a lot of debates about when is the break of dawn, and I'm not going to go into that because that is a subject in its own right. All I will say is that the break of dawn is based upon what the Quran has said, and that is when the light thread comes across. Light thread means astronomical twilight, when it's pitch black, and here you can't see it, but if you were somewhere in the fields, it's pitch black and there's a very thin light that appears, then that is the break of dawn. Subha Sadiq. Okay? So from Subha Sadiq, you stop eating, which is the beginning time of Fajr. Now sometimes in our timetables, its beginning time of Fajr is 5 o'clock, and we say stop your fast at 10 to 5. That's precautionary. Right? So that, if you've got something stuck in your mouth, you can get rid of it, etc. But the real time is the break of dawn is as soon as Fajr starts, fasting starts. You stop eating, the fasting begins. Okay? So that, and then Maghrib is when the sun has set completely. Okay? So that's the fasting. And what is fasting? 3 things in specific. I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible because it can be very complicated. But if we try and make it simple, inshallah, you will all learn from it. Eating, any solids, drinking, any liquids, or any smoke is part of drinking, or conjugal relations, sexual intercourse. Them 3 things during those periods is haram. And that will break your fast. That's what you are fasting. Now, it's not as simple as that because things connected to that. Okay? But that's it. So that's the important part. If any of them 3 acts have been done, the fast will break. Yeah? Everybody understand that? Yes. Good. Next point, ensuring all further acts are done. What I mean by that is there are many young men, especially young lads, they fast but they don't pray the namaz. Right? Now the fast will remain, but you are major sinner. So what's the point of doing one act and then not doing the more important act, which is salah? So make sure that you do all your fardas. Yeah? And refrain from haram. So what do I mean by that? Backbiting, lying, swearing, fighting, anything indecent stuff. Stay away from it. When you are fasting, you're not only fasting from them 3 things, you are fasting from everything that Allah dislikes. Yeah? 2 women came in the masjid, and after a show, the Prophet ﷺ said, get a bowl and asked them to vomit in that bowl. And they vomited, and the vomit started, and pieces of flesh came out. And they hadn't eaten meat, but flesh came out. And the Prophet ﷺ said, that's the flesh of your brother who you have been backbiting. Okay? So be aware that sadly, backbiting is one of those things that is common. Yeah, I know that guy, yeah, man, don't know everything about him. Did you know he did this and did you know he did that? Oh yeah, he's a right there, etc. All these acts of backbiting. In Ramadan, stop it. Or be conscious, be aware of it. Okay? So please be aware to make sure that you try and do that. If you did them acts, the fast doesn't break, but it becomes makruh. Right? And it becomes something that Allah is displeased with. Okay? So the things that will break the fast we'll talk about. And if there is any act that you do which causes temptation for you to break the fast, then that without a reason is makruh. So what do I mean by that? I mean, it is a hot day, right? And it's boiling, and you get a glass of cold water, and you think, I'm not going to drink this, I'm just going to put it in my mouth to cool myself down. Right? What's going to happen? You're going to be tempted to swallow it. So that will be makruh. That makes sense. Yeah? A man embraces his wife and feels the warmth of the body. That could lead to conjugal relations during the day, and therefore it's makruh. Yeah? Tasting something without necessity. What do I mean by that? If one of you, I was corrected about this, if a sister, I said, was in the kitchen cooking, but brothers can also cook, right? And you're making some food and you're thinking, well, I don't know whether there's enough salt in this. I don't know if there's too much chili in it. You can put it at the tip of your tongue, taste it, and spit it back out. There's a valid reason for you to do that so that the food is not going to get wasted. Okay? Or the family is not going to be upset. But if you had no reason to do it, then it's makruh. So there's some food getting ready and you just, oh, that smells so nice, that smells, what's going to happen? You're tempted now, aren't you? Right, you're hungry anyway, you're tempted, that's makruh. Yeah, so abstain from anything that would make your fast makruh. That's what it is. Okay, so here's a bit of a diagram. So what, if you remember this rule, inshallah, you will remember everything. The fasting, this is what we call the trachea. Starts from the throat, this our windpipe. Yeah? There, down, all the way down, this is the stomach, this is the colon, small one, the large one, and this is the rectum. Anything that is entered in all that area, anything, for any reason, will break the fast. Does that make sense? If anything is entered in all that area, for any reason, will break the fast, bar one reason. What's that one reason? Sorry? Accidentally, so if I'm doing wuzu, so okay, so good point. So I'm doing wuzu, and I know I'm fasting, and I gargle, and a little bit of water goes down my throat. Does my fast break? Yes, it does. Even though I didn't intend to. So that's accidental. But I understand what you mean. What's the other reason? Forgetfulness. You forget you are fasting. So you ate something and you forgot completely you are fasting. That is the only way the fast doesn't break. Yeah? As soon as you remember, you have to stop straight away. So you've eaten 2 morsels, 3rd morsel, I'm fasting. Right? Now you can't think, okay, well, I've eaten 2, I'll just finish this one off. Yeah? That will break the fast. But otherwise, the fast, apart from that reason, even if you're forced to eat, yeah, the fast will break. Even though someone's forced you to eat. Okay? So, question. Injection. Does that break the fast? No. Who says yes? Young man says yes. Now let me ask you a question. I'm glad you said yes, because it's a less learning thing. If you inject in your arm, will that go into this part of your body? Huh? The bloodstream goes all over the body. Does it go specifically into that part of the body? No. So therefore, fast doesn't break. Okay? So the fast with an injection, unless what? Unless you inject it in your stomach, or you inject it in your throat, yeah, or you inject it in any part of that area, then your fast will break. Is everybody okay with that? Everybody clear? Okay, good. Yes, brother.
What about blood test?
Blood test, okay. Good question. What happens in a blood test? Your blood is extracted from your arm or some part of your body, yeah? Usually your arm. Does that affect that area? Does anything go in that area at that point? No. So therefore the answer is, it won't break. The reason why I'm trying to make it clear is that at least now you know the understanding of fast. Now, the blood test doesn't break your fast. It will break your wudu, because flowing blood breaks wudu. Yeah, but it won't break your fast. Everybody clear with that? Yeah. Okay? So that is a simple rule, but there is some complication, which I need to understand. Is that next, please? Yeah. So like I said, actions that break the fast, eating, drinking, relations, one is aware they are fasting, so you know you are fasting, and you eat, drink, or conjugal relations, even if it's accidental. You're fasting, you're lying, and some water leaks from the ceiling, and it falls into your mouth, it goes down your throat, the fast will break. Yeah? You had no intention to drink, but it went down your throat, the fast will break. Halas. Okay? So remember that. It's whether you intended or not, the fast will break. Eating, drinking, or conjugal relations. Okay? Anything stuck in the mouth, if it's already stuck in the mouth, and it's the back of the mouth, and it accidentally goes down the throat, anything smaller than a chickpea won't break the fast. Anything that's outside the mouth is bigger than a linseed you put it in your mouth and you swallow it, the fast will break. Okay? So that's as simple as that. So if you've got something in your mouth and it comes out, you cannot swallow it again. If you do, then, and you find you enjoyment or taste from it, the fast will break. Okay? Now, like I said, swallowing water during wudu by accident will break the fast. A lot of people think it doesn't. Or ghusl. Right? Washing the mouth is fard in ghusl. Gargling is also an act of ghusl, but when you are fasting, don't gargle. What I mean by that is don't you tip your throat back and like that, because what will happen is that potentially water will go down your throat. That happens, your fast will break. Okay? So when it's ghusl, you put it in your mouth, you wash the mouth, and you spit it all out. So you don't tilt your head back. Okay? So it is against the sunnah to gargle whilst fasting. It is the sunnah to gargle whilst you're not fasting. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Right. Blood if swallowed. Now this is an important one. Your gums are bleeding. Right? If your blood mixes into the saliva and the blood is more prominent than the saliva, and you swallow it accidentally or on purpose, the fast will break. Okay? If you taste blood, it's clear taste, and you swallow it, the fast will break. Okay? You didn't intend to, you did, but the fast will break. That's the important one. Right? If there's a little bit of blood and you didn't taste it, and it's just a little bit, it's spat out and you can see a little bit of blood, but there's no taste to it, it went down your throat, it won't break the fast. Otherwise, it will break the fast. Okay? Next thing.
So sometimes when you namaz, first namaz, behind the imam, his chair attached, and sometimes you get not the blood, but just the spit, if it accumulates in your mouth.
Same ruling applies. If it's more dominant than your saliva, so there's more blood than saliva, then you would.
No blood, just the saliva.
Just the case.
Yeah, just
Oh, saliva, yeah, no, that's fine. That's it. Yeah. By the way, to gather saliva in the mouth and swallow it will not break the fast, but it's makruh. Okay? It's makruh. Mucus is the same thing. Right? But if you swallow, some people have an habit, keep on doing that. Yeah? That's not going to break your fast as long as there's nothing mixed in your saliva. Okay? If you had chewing gum, then the sugar has dissolved into the mouth, into the saliva, you swallow it, the fast will break. Brushing your teeth. Right? Now, first of all, the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the smell of the person who is fasting better than musk. Right? That's the hadith. But you brush your teeth and you brush it with toothpaste. If any of your toothpaste mixes into the saliva and you swallow it, the fast will break. Hence, to use it is makruh. If you use miswak, that's the best way, because miswak is sunnah in and outside of fasting. Okay, just be careful that the bristles don't go down the throat. Okay? Everybody clear with that? Okay.
This is a good question. In terms of the swallowing water, like if you're talking about when you shouldn't gargle, obviously means the same thing for sniffing water as well.
Yeah, anything that goes through your nose, so we're going to talk about that in a minute, anything that's sniffed up and it goes into the back of the throat, that will break the fast. Okay? Because nose is an outlet of the mouth, and it connects, your mouth and your nose are connected, and it goes into the back of your throat. So therefore, if something sucked up the nose, it goes to the back of the throat and goes down your throat, the fast will break. So when you are doing ghusl, you can suck the water up and clean it and like that. Just be careful that it just doesn't go down so far up the nose that it goes into the back of the throat. Okay? So, the other thing is, this is quite an interesting one. Ears and eyes. Okay? So are they connected to the throat? That's the question. There are two opinions on this. The classical opinion from all the books of fiqh is that the eyes are not connected, the ears are. Okay? If you put oil in your ears, then it will get to the back of the throat and your fast will break. That's what you will read if you open the books of fiqh. However, modern science and the muftis of Darul Ifta have said that that was based upon their understanding. But modern science tells us that ear, if you put anything into your ear, it will not go into your throat unless your eardrum is shackled. Yeah? So therefore, it will not break the fast. However, if you put eye drops in, that will go into the back of the eye and that will slip down to the back of the throat. So the modern fatwa is that eye drops is not allowed, ear drops are allowed. The classical fatwa is that the eye drops are allowed, ear drops are not allowed. So there are two opinions. So the best thing to do is avoid the lot of it. Yeah? Don't put any eye drops in. And the bigger important bit is contact lenses. If you dip it in solution and you put it under the water, it's going to go to the back of the eye. And that will go down to the back of the throat and that will break the fast. According to the contemporary fatwas issued by Darul Sunnah. Right? The old muftis have said no. So if you choose to follow the classical opinion, but you're going to stick to that classical opinion, then in your view, your fast hasn't broken. And in that view, it's fine. But you can't pick and choose. Well, you can't turn around and say, well, I put eye drops in, well, the new mufti said it doesn't, so it's okay. And you put ear drops in, and you say, well, you know, the new mufti, the old muftis have said it doesn't, so it's okay. You put ear drops in and say, well, the new muftis have said it doesn't, so it's okay. You can't pick and choose. Stick to one ruling. Best thing to do is just avoid it. Yeah? Because there is a risk. Now, intentionally vomiting a mouthful, intentionally is where you put your fingers down your throat and you vomit out. Right? A mouthful means uncontrollable vomit. There's food in the vomit. That will break the fast. Normal vomiting, or even a mouthful of vomit, but you haven't intentionally done it, you're just not well, and you vomit, will not break the fast as long as you do not swallow any of it back. Yeah? If you swallow some of it back, the fast will break. Okay? Otherwise, the wuzu will break from mouthful of vomit, right? But the fast will not break unless it is intentionally done. Everybody clear with that? Yes. So that's the rule. So if someone's not well, they vomit, their fast has not broken as long as they haven't swallowed any of it back. Simple as that. Okay. Suppositories, medication into the back passage will break the fast. Okay, that's important. Anybody who has medication, if you put anything, insert anything into the rear passage, it will break the fast. If a finger is inserted into the rear passage, a wet finger will break the fast, a dry one won't. Because water will go into the back passage, and I explained to you the ruling of anything that goes into either end. Okay, when it comes to the front passage, the men's front passage, i.e. the urethra, is not connected to the trachea and the colon. Therefore, it doesn't break the fast. So if you had medication that you weren't well, and you have to put something down the front passage, then it won't. But for women, it will. So if a woman has a cervical smear test, right, doctor's appointment, going to check it, cervical smear test will break her fast. Okay, so for those people who are married, make sure you tell them if they've got a cervical test, it will break the fast. Okay, anything inserted into the front passage of a woman will break the fast. When it comes to intercourse, it doesn't lead to orgasm, and as soon as there's penetration, the fast will break. Okay, the fast will break for both the man and the woman. Even if one of them chose not to agree to that. If there was a man forced himself on the woman, her fast will also break. Okay? So certain asthma pump will break the fast. Because particles of medicine, whether dry or what will go into your throat. The whole purpose of an asthma pump is to have particles of prednisolone which reduces the inflammation of an asthma attack. Yeah? So therefore, an asthma pump will break the fast. Yeah? If you need to, and it's a desperate situation, then you need to save an attack, then you will take it, but the fast will break. Okay? And then insulin for diabetes. Okay? A person diabetic, many diabetics still fast. Some people are absolutely fine with it, especially the shorter fast. Yeah? To take insulin, it will not break the fast unless they take it in the stomach. Yeah? A lot of times insulin is usually taken on the thighs, if I'm correct, for any diabetics here that can tell me. Thighs, insulin will not break the fast. Because remember, it's not going into those parts, that's simply. The windpipe all the way to the back passage. But if it's in the stomach, then it will. Okay? Any questions on that so far? Everybody clear? Alhamdulillah. Next. Okay, actions that don't break the fast. First of all, whilst in a forgetful state, you eat, drink, or have conjugal relations, as we mentioned before, will not break the fast as long as you stop as soon as you remember. Yeah, that's the first thing. Secondly, nocturnal emission. Nocturnal emission. What does that mean? It's a very complicated word for a very simple one. Wet dream. Right? A wet dream will not break the fast. Some people think that it does, but oh no, I had a wet dream last night. You know, my fast is broken, it isn't. Okay? It will not break the fast. State of impurity. A person slept in the state of impurity, had intercourse, went to bed, thought I'll wake up for Fajr, I'll have a bath, pray my Fajr, he sleeps through Fajr. Right? So he wakes up now at 9 o'clock, he's in a good state of janab. The fast has not broken. Okay, some people think, well, I'm in janab, it's now sunrise, my fast is broken, it hasn't. Go and do your ghusl and carry on. Right? However, to deliberately stay in that state and miss your Fajr, obviously is haram. Because you've missed your namaz. Yeah? Otherwise, it will not break the fast. Well, injections, as we mentioned, will not break the fast, as long as they are not anywhere near the area that we talked about. Blood tests will not break the fast. A nosebleed, as long as you don't suck the blood up and take it down your throat, if it comes out, it will not break the fast. Okay? Kissing your partner without lustful intent, i.e. on the forehead, okay, on the cheek, on the hands, etc., is fine. Kiss them with lustful intent is makruh, because it could lead to the next stage. Okay? So the normal is fine, otherwise, but if that's going to cause you to become to the next stage, then don't do it. Okay? Otherwise, it's fine. There's a hadith where Rasulullah kisses Aisha on the forehead during whilst he was fasting. Okay? Right. And then tasting where necessary, we talked about that, something like we can't tip it up and you stick it back up. Dental appointments, you don't do them. Because there is a high chance, 99%, that something will go down your throat. Because they wash it, they spray, they put something, it will go. So don't do it. It will predominantly break the fast. 99% of the time. So dental appointments, don't do them unless you're in such pain, in which case your fast will work. Okay, everybody clear with that? Anything that you're not sure about? Any questions so far?
What about excessively inhaling something with a scent?
Okay, so smoke, or if there's particles, scent itself is fine, unless there is particles. You spray something, you see particles, don't you? And you take it up, that will break the fast. Smoking, you come into a room and someone's set on a global here, and it's quite smoky. You come into the room, passive breathing is fine, same as passive smoking is fine. However, intentionally inhaling it, there's another word here, that's really good, that smells really nice, and smoke, intentionally inhaling will break the fast. Because that's the same as smoking. It's a good question. Okay? Very clear with that? Okay, kafara. Okay, so this is the one which is a real tough one. Okay. So kafara. Remember one very simple rule. Kafara only applies to the fard fast of Ramadan in Ramadan where it is broken deliberately. Yeah? So the fard fast of Ramadan in Ramadan deliberately be broken through eating, drinking, or having sexual intercourse. Yeah? In Ramadan, broken, not missed. A lot of people think if they miss a fast deliberately, I'm not going to fast tomorrow, or I didn't fast yesterday, I have to do kafara. There is no kafara for a missed fast. It's sinful to miss a fast without a reason. Hazrat Abu Hurairah said that Rasulullah said, if a person knew that the reward that they have lost by deliberately missing a further fast, then they would fast for the rest of their life and still not make up that time. Yeah? So without valid excuse, to miss a fast is sinful. But if you did miss a fast, kafara is not necessary. Only qada. Yeah? So kafara is only when you deliberately break a fast through eating, drinking, or having sexual intercourse during the daylight hours. If you do that deliberately, then you will have to do kafara as long as that fast is a further fast in the month of Ramadan. So if it's a qaza fast for the month of Ramadan, you qaza fast and you break it, there's no kafara. Yeah? It's only for them 30 days. Yeah? And you break it. So everybody clear with that? Yeah? So everybody understand that ruling first of all. That's good. Secondly, right? There is no fast, no kafara for any other fast deliberately broken. So you break the fast, or let's say you're doing a qaza fast, you break it, you're doing a Muharram fast, whatever. Deliberately break it, there's no fast. There's qaza for it. Right? You should make on this wajib to make on this fast, a broken fast. Yeah? That is not full, and it's full to make on a broken fast. That is full. Right? There is no kafara for a traveler who deliberately breaks his fast. So, you're hungry, you're on a journey, you've decided to leave your hometown with an intention of 57.5 miles, and you break your fast, there will be no kafara, because you are a shara'i musafir. Yeah? If you are going to travel, you made the intention, I'm going to be leaving at 10 o'clock, you fasted up to 10. Oh, let me explain to you. You're going to fast. You're fasting that day, and somebody rang, your relative lives in Leicester, you need to come down, there's something emergency. Yeah? So you can write, okay, well, I better go. Now, you're going to go, but before you leave, you eat something or drink something deliberately, kafara will be necessary. Because you're not a traveler yet. Does that make sense? As soon as you leave your hometown, i.e. Blackburn, as soon as you leave Blackburn, then you can eat or drink if you choose to, and the fast will be broken, but there will be no kafara. Only qada. We're very clear with that. So a traveler, once they're on the travel, this kafara is not necessary, even if the travel is not permissible. As long as you're a traveler, the fast will be up. So a guy's starving, he decides, well, I'm so hungry, I'm going to go to London because I need to eat. Yeah? There's no kafara. Okay? Because you broke it once you're a traveler. But you have to answer for that. Okay? So that's one thing. Right? There is one kafara for 1, 2, all the way up to 30 fasts deliberately broken. There's only one kafara for that one Ramadan. So you break the fast on the 3rd, you're hungry, you break the fast on the 7th, you break the fast on the 10th, you break the fast on the 14th. You didn't even know about this fast. You break the fast on the 18th, you break the fast on the 21st, 22nd, 30th. You broke 12 fasts. There's no 12 kafaras, there's one kafara for that one Ramadan. When someone told you to do what, you have to do kafara. Then you have to do one kafara for it, not for all individually. Does that make sense? Okay, so what is kafara? Kafara, first of all, is to free a slave. Now we don't have slaves anymore, except for the husbands and the wives, but that's a very different type of a slave. Okay, but legally, there's no slaves. There used to be gulam, there's no gulams anymore, so that rule doesn't apply. 60 consecutive fasts Consecutive means not a single fast can be missed in between, for any reason, including illness. Right? So you did 58, 59, you felt so ill, you couldn't fast, start again. Right? The only ruling exception is for a menstruating woman. She stops, she's for the time she's menstruating, and she carries on. Yeah? Now that, by the way, isn't an option to think, well, I can't do, well, I'm not going to do that, so I'll feed 120 meals. 60 beggars twice for the full meal is the third option, right? But nowadays, it's difficult to do 60, because if you know I can't do 60%, then give kafara. 100 was a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I've lost my fast. He said, how? He said, I couldn't stay away from my wife. Okay? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, in that case, you will have to give kafara. So he says, Ya Rasulullah, I'm more than happy. How? He says, free a slave, so I have no slaves. He says, complete 60 consecutive fasts. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this happened in one fast. Do you think I'm going to be able to do 60? Yeah? There's no chance. I'm not going to be able to do it. So the Prophet said, alright, in that case, feed 60 people twice a day. He said, I've no money. How am I going to feed 60 people? So I'm poor. How can I feed 60 people? So the Prophet ﷺ just put his head down, and suddenly a man came with loads of dates. And he gave them a gift to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, let me see the gift from me. The Prophet ﷺ took the gift. And he says to this man that was sat there, he says, here, this is your kafara, go and distribute it amongst the poor. Right? But that man was also quite clever. So the Sahabi goes, Ya Rasulullah, there's no one poorer than me. There's no one poorer than me. The Prophet ﷺ smiled. It's in the hadith that the whiteness of his teeth could be shown. Yeah? And he says, you eat them, your kafara will be fulfilled. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that all of us can eat whatever we want, but kafara is wajib. On top of that, you still must make the qada. So you do kafara it's an expiation, it's a penalty. Okay? On top of that, qada is pretty fun. Okay? So a lot of people sort of thought, well, if I miss a fast deliberately, I have no reason to say I've got to do kafara, but you don't. Okay? Kafara is different to fidya, which we talk about in here. Okay? This is expiation, it's a penalty. Okay, for kafara. Next question. So, situations where fast can be missed. Okay? First of all, any fast, for the fast missed for any reason, must be made up. Qada has to be done for any further fast, for any reason. Yeah? Deliberately, non-deliberately, illness, whatever it might be. You miss your fast, you have to make it up. That's the first thing. Right? If due to health you cannot make up the fast, then fidya will be given. Right. Now what do we mean by that? Basically, if a person is ill and they can't make up that fast, then they will see if they can make it up in the shorter months. Yeah? So for example, you're a diabetic. You can't fast in July because 21 hours of fasting is too much. Your body can't take it. But you can make those fasts up in December. Then you must do that. Fidya is not an option. That makes sense. So fidya will never prioritize over fasting. However, you can't make them up at any time. Because you can't go longer than 4 hours and the doctors told you that you've experienced ill health yourself. In that case, you'll give fidya. And fidya is 2 meals per fast missed. Okay? 2 meals per fast missed. That's the ruling of fidya. Right? But if you can make it up, you must do so. If for that year you weren't feeling well, you were going through a lot of health problems, and you gave fidya, 2 years later you got better and strong. Now you can fast, you will have to make up them fast even though you've given fidya for them. Your fidya will count as voluntary, and you will have to make a fast stop. Okay? So fidya is not an easy way out. It's only a final sort of last call. Okay? Right. Like I said, miss fast, do not trigger kafara. and this fast must be made as soon as possible. But once it will be done, it will be regarded the obligation is fulfilled. So you miss the fast in March, you should make it up in April. Make it up in April. If you don't know how long you're going to live, and you're further on your head hanging. Yeah? But if you did wait, and you wait till December, and you then make it up, then your obligation will be fulfilled. But the scholars have said, try and do it as soon as possible. It's a further funding. Yeah? As soon as possible. Right? And the fidya is 2 meals per fasting. So 2 burgers. Yeah, whatever family. Okay, to the poor family, not to the next. Okay, the valid, legitimate reason of missing a fast, where you will not be sinful. You're allowed to miss if you want to. However, if you keep it, it's better. Travel. Now, 3 days travel now is 57.5 miles, which is from here to Birmingham. Right? Now you could go to Birmingham in an hour and a half, and you could be back and go in the morning, come back in the evening. If you choose to miss it, fine. But we should try and keep it. Because it's hard to make fast after Ramadan, the blessing is around Ramadan, etc. But if you're a traveller, you're allowed to miss your fast. A lot of times nowadays, most people fast. Even when they fly, they tend to fast because they know that 5 or 6 hours are they'll be okay. The only time is when a person's traveling from, let's say, India to America, where the flight is 15 hours long and it's daytime all the way through. Yeah, that means this fast is going to be like 28 hours long. In that case, miss it. Don't burden yourself. Yeah, and if you did it, if you tried it and you had to break it, remember there's no sin. If you're a traveler, you're allowed to break it. Okay, so traveling. Pregnancy, a woman's pregnant, she's allowed to miss a fast. Okay, but remember, in all these situations, you have to make it up later. So she's allowed to miss a fast. If she feels strong enough and she fasts every alternate day, that's good for her. But she is allowed to miss it and she will not miss it. Breastfeeding a child, same situation, she's allowed to miss it. Okay? Illness. Now here, what do we mean by illness? Illness isn't just, a bit of a headache, I'm not going to fast today. Right? I've got a bit of a nose, I've got a bit of a cold, I'm not going to fast. That's not the valid reason. The valid reason is where a person's illness will prevent, fasting will prevent it from getting better, or it will make it worse. Right? Now there are 2 ways of knowing that. One is you've tried it yourself and you've got worse, or the second way is that a practicing Muslim doctor tells you. Right? You can't be a normal doctor. So you go to the doctors and you go to them and say, look, you're better off not fasting. Dr. Jones tells you you're not fasting because it's not going to be any good. Right? Now he might be absolutely 100% right, but you can't take his word for it. So what you would then do is pick the phone up and ring a practicing Muslim doctor and say, look, this is the advice I've been given. Am I allowed to miss my fast? And the practicing Muslim, mashallah, pays 5 times a day, knows the importance of fasting. So he will then be able to say, yeah, he's right, don't fast. In that situation, you're allowed to miss it. Okay? Or in practice, you've tried it yourself and you know you're going to get ill by doing this. Then you're allowed to miss it. Otherwise, you can't miss it. Okay? Old age, such that you will genuinely struggle, because you're that old, then you're allowed to miss your fast. If you can make them up in the shorter months, do so. If not, then do fidya. Insanity, a person loses his mental stability, then he's allowed to miss the fast. Yeah? And then there are 2 reasons where not they're allowed, but they must miss the fast. They cannot fast. And that is menstruation. So a woman menstruates, she has to miss the fast. She can't fast, it's sinful to fast. And postnatal bleeding. She's delivered a child and she's still bleeding from that. She must not fast. However, in both these situations, she must make it up. As where, for a menstruating woman, she doesn't have to make a salah. That's forgiven. But fasting isn't. You have to make it up. Okay, any questions on that? Any further questions on fasting? You weren't sure, or you've heard something, someone told you to take away, by the way, your fast is broken, and you weren't sure, and this is what you believe, or some common myths, or whatever it might be. Any further questions on fasting?
Just one. When someone is fasting and is broken the fast, or they missing the fast for in front of other people, should they continue fasting?
Okay, so your fast is broken, and let's say it's broken by accident, yeah, it is still wajib for you to abstain from food, drink, and intercourse during the day, even though your fast is broken, right? Because it's the respect of the fast. Yeah? The only exception is the woman who's menstruating, she can eat, but she shouldn't eat in front of people. Okay? So if your fast has broken, or you're not fasting for whatever reason, you don't walk in and say, sorry guys, I'm just going to have a cold can of iron brew because it's really hard, I'm not fasting. You know, something I'm not fasting, it's not before we have to fast, so I'm not fasting. Yeah, you can't do that, right? It's if you can't fast for whatever reason, you would privately, secretly eat with respect everybody else's views. Okay, how everybody else is fasting. In Ramadan, outside Ramadan, it's fine. Okay, outside Ramadan, you shouldn't even tell people that you're fasting a fard fast because that means that you deliberately know you missed it for a reason, because it's sinful, so you should just privately fast. You should know how fasting today. What is it about deciding to fast? What your intention is for fast? Okay? Any other questions? Anybody else unclear, unsure? If you've got any questions that you're not unaware of or whatever, or you want to ask privately, you can come and see me after. Now I can carry on the zakat or we can finish it here. What's everybody's position on this? Some people say carry on, some people think I'm starving. Right? But it's up to you guys. Generally, I can either carry on with zakat or we can finish it. It's up to you. But zakat is probably more complicated than fasting. Shall we do it a little bit more? 15 minutes? Let's quickly go. Okay. Zakat is an obligation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran about people about zakat, right? Establish prayer, give your zakat. It is mentioned in the Quran 30 times, and zakat became followed on 3 occasions. Okay? Next. Right. Zakat in the hadith, if you don't pay zakat, Allah will create a serpent, will be blind, and he will wrap with your wealth, and he will wrap you around on the day of judgment with him, and he will continue to sting you. Right? So zakat is an obligation, and again, it's nasaqatai. One who rejects the obligation of zakat is a kafir. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is quite important. Charity does not in any way decrease the wealth. And the servant who forgives Allah adds his respect, and the one who shows humility, Allah elevates the destination of the people. So show respect to others, Allah will raise you. Right? Forgive people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you. And give in the way of Allah, Allah will reward you. And tenfold, minimum. Okay, right. So zakat is due on who? It's due on every sane Muslim adult who is free and who is Malik Nisab. That's the important part. Malik Nisab is a person who has the threshold, and we'll talk about what the threshold is in a minute. Above that is a Malik Nisab. That person, if he's been a Malik Nisab for the whole year, then after the 1 year has ended, is due to pay zakat. Now, a lot of people think that you have to have the goods for a year for you to pay zakat. So you've got, let's say your zakat is due at the beginning of Ramadan, and someone gave you today on the 19th or the 18th of Sha'ban, right? Someone gave you £20,000, right? Or you came into that wealth for one reason or another. Your zakat is due in 2 weeks' time. Do you pay zakat on that 20 grand? Yes, you do. Some people think I'm not for it. If you're above the threshold for a year, you must pay zakat on whatever you have, even if you for a day. Okay? So please remember that rule. So what is the threshold? 612 grams of silver or 88 grams of gold. 52.5 tola of silver, 7.5 tola of gold. Or whichever of the two is less of a value when it comes to money. Yeah? Now it's always going to be silver. 612 grams of silver roughly is around £500 at the moment. Roughly. Well, you can calculate that. If you go on the internet for selling prices, scrap silver, you can see the price times that by 612 grams per gram. Yeah? That's the threshold. If you have had that for a year, or you had it at the beginning of the year, it dipped below, but you have it at the end of the year, that's still counted as a year, then you are Malik Nisab. And You will pay zakat on everything that you have subject to its zakat. And we'll talk about what is zakat paid on in a minute. Okay? If you've got any debt, you will take that debt away. Yeah, so debt, obviously, you will take away. So you've got £10,000 in the bank, but you owed your blocks £12,000, you're minus £2,000. There are two types of debt, right? It's called fixed term and non-fixed term debt. Non-fixed term debt is I lend you £5,000 and you say, well, can you pay me back whenever you can? That's a non-fixed term debt. All of that debt can be taken from your wealth. Fixed term debt is mortgages, where you take out a £200,000 mortgage and you pay a fixed term. And as long as you pay the amount, they will never ask for that money. Yeah? That is a fixed term debt, and you will only count the 12 months of it as a debt. Yeah? So if you're paying a £500 mortgage, whether the mortgage is halal or haram, we're not going to go into that debate. But the point is this: you've got a £500 a month mortgage, £6,000 for the next 12 months is what you will need. You can take that as your debt, but not the whole 200 grand. Okay? Next point is that what is zakat? Zakat is 1/40th of it. That's how much you pay. So out of 40 apples, you give one apple in the way over. And you keep 39 aside. Right? So not much at all. 2.5% equivalent. And zakat is paid on what you have, not what you earn. It's not income tax. You earn £100,000 a year. At the end of your zakat year is plentiful. Then you won't pay a penny zakat. Okay? But yeah, but you're a doctor, 100 grand a year. No matter how much money left. It's on what you have. Okay? And finally, you must be the owner of the goods. Yeah? If I lend you £5,000, you're spending the £5,000, you pay zakat on it. Me. It's my money. You're just spending it. It's not your money. You don't pay zakat on it. I pay that because it's my money. Yeah? So you be the owner of the goods. You've loaned someone money, that money that you've lent, you can delay paying that zakat until you get it back. But you have to pay for all the years that you haven't paid. Does everybody understand that? So if you've not got the money, or you don't want to pay, but it's for that £5 that I've lent now, I can pay when I get it back. But I have to backdate it to all the years that I haven't paid. Next, okay, zakat is paid predominantly on four things. The fifth and the sixth usually goes to the it's probably more for people in India, Pakistan here, but let me explain. Zakat is paid on gold, whether you store it or you wear it. According to the Malikis, it's only for if you store it. If you wear it, they don't pay zakat. According to Imam Malik. But according to Imam Abu Hanifa, zakat is paid on any gold that you have. The value is the selling price of the gold, not the item. You might have bought a ring for £2 grand, but when you wear the ring, it's only worth £1 grand. The rest of it was, there's little stones on it or whatever. As long as the selling price of that gold is what you will pay zakat. Silver, savings and investments. So cash, money in the bank, money through stocks and shares, money through cryptocurrency, whether crypto is halal or not, it's a different argument, but it's still part of the investment portfolio. You will add it all up and you will pay zakat.
What pensions?
Pensions you will pay zakat on. Yeah? There are three types of pensions: deferred, defined, and government. Right? This is the defined pension scheme that you pay on. So quickly, there is a pension. It doesn't often happen now, used to, where it's called a final salary pension. Right? You pay a contribution every month. Nobody goes into a pot, but they promise that it will pay your salary when you retire. There's no zakat on that. Because you actually don't own anything, they just promise you to pay your salary. Same as national insurance, which is the government pension. There's no zakat on that until you get the money and you save it. But the pension scheme most common now is where you contribute £100, your employer contributes 50 quid, 150 at the end of the year, it saves the money, you will pay zakat on that. And then the year after, if you don't pay it, you will pay it when you get access to your pension. But pensions are a very complicated, separate subject. We'll have a discussion some other time on it. Okay? But the reality is, it is still your savings. Okay? Now, with other types of investments, which is monetary value. like I said, stocks, shares, everything is all part ISAs or whatever you may have. It's all money and you will pay zakat on it. And business trade goods. So goods that you have bought specifically as business stock to sell. So you got a shop, all your shop goods, right? You buy and sell clothes, the clothes that you have in your possession that are yours, minus any money that you owe, you will pay the selling price of that. You will totally stock take the selling price, not the purchase price, and you pay zakat on that. Okay? Business stock. There are the 4 things that you will pay zakat on. So, you have 6 houses, right? 1 you live in and 5 you rent out. You don't pay zakat on their properties. It doesn't fit into any of them 4 categories. You will pay zakat on the rent that you receive and you save at the end of the year. Yeah? There's no zakat on you bought a house and you thought, I'm going to leave it for my son when he gets older. No zakat. Okay? You bought a house specifically to sell it, do it up and sell it, then there's zakat because it's business stock. Okay? There's no zakat on diamonds unless it's trade goods. You're buying and selling diamonds. Okay? Then it's trade goods. Otherwise, no zakat. Crops, for those in India that have got kicker, right, all the fields, crops, zakat is paid 20% of the crops, not 2.5. 20% if it's pushing. If it's kharajins only, there's 2 types of fields, right, and it depends on which one it is. But if you've got crops and you're not sure, come and see me later. But there's no point going on about it because none of us have it. And livestock's the same. Livestock, you've got, sheep and goats and stuff like that. The zakat paid for every 5 goats, 1 goat is given in zakat. But that, that would technically fit in the trade goods. But then 4 things. Anything else, you've got a wardrobe full of Rolex watches, right? There's no zakat on it unless the watch is gold. Okay? There's no zakat on it. Wealth that you have, there's no zakat. As long as it's free sacrifice. So buying and selling, you buy and sell watches, then there's zakat. We're very clear with that. Okay, the people that you can give zakat to, there are 7 people. Right? The Quran talks about this. It's the faqir. Faqir is a person who is poor. He's below the threshold of nisab. He hasn't got nisab. He's got some money, or he's got a house, he's got a livelihood, but he's no savings whatsoever, no savings or nothing. Below the threshold of nisab, he's allowed to take zakat. Second one is miskin, complete pauper, goes out on the street begging, nothing at all. Right? Sharia defines them 2 slightly separately. He's allowed to take zakat. As long as they're all Muslim, zakat can only be given to a Muslim. Okay, there's only one exception which we'll talk about. Amil is the only person who could be a rich guy and still take zakat. And Amil is an appointed person whose job is to collect zakat. And so, previously, during the Ottoman rules, the government would appoint people, that would be your job, you go to people's houses and you collect zakat. Now the reason for that is if that's your job, well how else are you going to make income? How are you going to work? So Amir can take zakat, from that zakat he can take a percentage for his wages. Nowadays, the best way to explain it is a charity, and those people that work for the charity, that's their full-time job, the charity can take some percentage from the zakat and give it to them as a wages. But nowadays, you can always get gift aid. So always when you're giving zakat, check the policy, how much of your donation will be contributed. So a lot of charities now have 100% of donation policy. But if you didn't, Amir can take zakat. Okay? Riqab is a slave. Now, if he's not a Muslim, you can still give him zakat to become free. That's the only exception. Because then, if you give them zakat, they might come towards Islam. Yeah? And because a Muslim, if you paid him off, you took him out of his misery, and as a Muslim, inshallah, he'll love you. Right? A person in debt, you can pay, that person can take zakat, and he's nobody, he's not saving, he's actually minus. He can take zakat. Those in the way of Allah, this basically is students or people in jihad, a student studying abroad, he can take zakat money to pay for his fees and courses and living expenses, etc. And the final one, again, this could be you, it could be me. You're in London, right? Sufyan's in London and he's lost his wallet, his phone's been stolen, he's got nothing on him. And he bumps into me. And he says, Sufyan, what are you doing? Yeah, I've lost everything, man, I can't get back home. So I says, alright, well, when's your train? Tomorrow. So I give him hotel money, I give him some food money, and I give him some ticket money. So I give him, here's £400. And my intention is that I give you zakat. He can take it. He does not have to pay me back when he comes back home. If he does, that's better, because then I can give that £400 to some poor person. But the reality is, if you're a traveller and you're in need, you can take zakat. Does that make sense? Clear? Next. It's a student that can learn Islam in the way of Allah, if it's going to benefit Islam. So your community needs a doctor, right? And you need to go and study it, otherwise you'll suffer and grow Muslim, and that's fine.
Does the donator, does he have to pronounce the...
Okay, a person does not have to mention he's giving zakat, but his intention must be that it's zakat. What you can't do is give £100 today, and then when you calculate it, I tell you what, you've already given it. Right? But if you give it as intention is zakat, this is going to be zakat, you give it, you don't have to, you can even say here's a gift for you. Because some people might not want to take zakat. You can even say here's a gift, but in your heart, as before you hand the money over, your intention was zakat, then it will count. As long as it fits into that category. You cannot give zakat directly from masjid or madrasa. Right? The masjid or madrasa, you must tell them that what they do is they do something called hila shari. So they'll take the money, they'll then give it to one of these 7, usually first 2, yeah, and then that person will donate it back, because that's now lillah. Yeah? So that way, they can, that's the Shari. Well, otherwise, directly zakat, they can't spend it.
Is that legal? Is that...
Yeah, Shari wise, to allow the deed, work of the deed to continue. It's allowed.
What about family?
Right, we're going to go into that in a minute. Next people, next. The people, apart from them 7, right, who cannot be given zakat to are these. Parents and upwards. So parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, you can't give zakat. They're your fault, they're your responsibility. Children endowments, you can't give your kids zakat. You can't give their grandkids zakat. Right? You can't give, they will not, zakat will not count. Spouse, a person can't give like 10 grand, let me see, there you go there. Right, she takes the zakat, she's not saving. Right, next year she gives you back the zakat. You know, you can't do that. So the zakat cannot be given to a spouse. And Ahlul Bayt, right, male driven meaning is from a Sayyid, his father's Sayyid. Ahlul Bayt. If the mother's Sayyid, the father isn't, they're not part of the Ahlul Bayt. Okay? You will not be regarded as Sayyid. So you cannot, they can't take zakat. Right? Apart from that, family should be given zakat if they are picking one of the 7. Brothers poor, give them zakat, because it will soften their heart. Right? Don't have to tell them, here's some money for you and the kids. Yeah? Enjoy it, fill the household. If you don't give zakat as money, you can give it as food. If you think, if I give zakat money, this guy's got gambling habit. He's going to spend it all on gambling. The family are going to lose out. So instead of that, the £100 that you're going to give them, you bought rice, and you give them that rice instead. Because then you know that it's going to go to the kid's stomach. So you can't do that. But family, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, all of them can take that. Yeah? There's no issue. Family charity begins at home. Next. No, money, food, or anything worth the value. There's a reason behind it. You know, not your old stuff, not your old clothes. Yeah, it's got to be money or something bought with that money.
So for example, if you have a spouse who does have savings but has a lot of gold,
Yeah.
then would they be able to start the gold?
So, yeah, so the person who owns the gold is the person responsible paying for that zakat. So your spouse has no savings, but she's got $20 gold, right? She would need to pay that zakat unless you pay for her and she gives you permission. Now, I'm not yet to see any woman that wouldn't give you permission, right? So it says, can you pay my zakat? And you say, okay, no problem, then that's fine. Okay? Otherwise, she's not saying she'll have to sell a bit of that gold in there to pay the zakat. Yeah, so otherwise, you know, the good thing is you can turn around to your wife and say, I'm not paying your zakat, don't pay this out. Right? And then she will say, well, I'm going to get the money from. This shows the argument. Someone's going to sell some of your gold then. Okay? But yeah.
What about poor people in India who have gold but no money? Can you give them
If
zakat?
they have $7.5 or gold or more, they cannot take zakat.
That's full stop.
Full stop. They are Malik and Nisab. Malik and Nisab cannot take zakat. In fact, they have to give zakat. Yeah?
So, say you have £30,000.
Yeah.
Your cost for the year is 25,000. Can you take that out first?
No.
And just take the zakat out?
No. Whatever you have savings at the time, minus any debt. So you owe someone £1,200, they sent you a bill, the £1,200, and you can take that out, but you can't say, well, I need to pay my next 6 months' rent, I need to have food for the kids, I need to have that for the no. You can't do that. Whatever you have at the time, you will pay zakat on. If that money is saved for a valid reason, i.e., I'm going to save if I'm going to go to Hajj, if your zakat year ends and you have not yet spent the money, you will still pay zakat on it. You're saving money for a house, you haven't got a house, £40,000 sat in your bank, which is a deposit for the property, you will pay zakat on it. But remember what it is. How much is zakat? For every £10,000 is 250 quid. Yeah? And thank Allah that Allah put you in a position that you give zakat. Yeah, Allah put you in that position that you're actually one of those lucky people who give zakat and not pay. Okay? That's a very quick run through of zakat to try and get things understanding.
What about someone with a student loan but they don't have to pay it back yet?
Okay, so there's no zakat on loan money because it's not your money, is it?
Yeah.
You loaned it from somebody, you have to pay it back. So there's no zakat on that. If you started to pay it back, you calculate what you need to pay for the year because it's fixed term debt. Yeah? Let's say, for example, you've got student loan and you've not spent it, you've put it in a bank 10 grand. There's no zakat on that 10 grand because it's not your money. Yeah? That's the reality. Whatever money you've got, it's the same as you borrowed it from me. It's not your money, it's my money. Okay? So there would be no zakat.
Even if that loan, because it only happens when you get a certain wages and we have to start paying it.
Yeah.
It's never hit that wage.
And you've still got that money. Yeah, you don't pay. That's not your money. Yeah, you don't pay until you pay it off. Yes.
What about mosque and darus? They have whatever amount they have. They have to give.
No, an institution doesn't pay zakat on money. Right? Institution meaning masjid, madrasas. Yeah? Businesses do, because it's their money. But masjids don't pay, like you got bank balance of £200,000. Right? They don't pay zakat on that money. No individual owns that money. You have to be the owner of that money to pay zakat. Who owns that money? There's 100 grand. The trustees don't own it, otherwise they'd be sharing it, wouldn't they? It's the end of the year. Yeah? Everybody wants to be a trustee then. Yeah? Because whatever's in the bank balance, I'll have it. So no, there's no zakat on that. Okay? It's Allah's money. It belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you die and you owe zakat, only 1/3 of your wealth can be used to that. The rest of it has to go to your heirs. Inheritance. They're all inheritance law is a very different law altogether.
If you only have monetary savings,
Yeah.
what's the minimum amount of monetary savings you need to have
The
in order to be
threshold.
eligible? What is the
The
threshold?
minimum amount of money is what 612 grams of silver is.
Which is current?
Which is, at the moment, I think it's 70 pence a gram.
Okay.
So times that by 612, that's why I said about 500 quid roughly, just over £500. That's the minimum. That's the threshold.
If there's like a savings account and it's in one person's name, but it is for about like 3 people,
Yeah.
then like something else.
Okay, so whose name it is in doesn't matter. It's actually who owns it. Who owns the money? A lot of the time, we put money in our children's saving accounts. Right? Does that money belong to the kid or is it yours? If it's your money, you will pay zakat on it. If it's specifically for that child and you will not touch it, and you cannot touch it without asking for the permission of that child, then there's no zakat on that money. I.e., when you get to 15 or 18, you can use it for a deposit or whatever. It's your money. Then there's no zakat on that until that child becomes according to the Sharia. Yeah? But you got an account and you put it in somebody else's name for tax purposes or whatever, it's your money. So you will pay zakat. Allah knows whose money it is, otherwise you start ending up opening accounts in lots of different people's names, wouldn't you? Yeah, until they take it all. But that's your money, and you know, the reality is what you own. Any other questions? Everybody clear? Inshallah, that should help. Give you a better understanding. I mean, if it's individual questions, please come back. You can come back. As Brother Sufyan or Siddiq, if you can, any of the questions, inshallah, we'll try and respond. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all a blessed month of Ramadan and act upon his teachings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us love for Allah, His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah accept our worship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our wealth in His way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us more halal wealth that we can give more zakat. Ameen. الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي والذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد سبحان ربك رب العزة والسلام
على يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك O Prophet salam upon you beloved salam upon you Rasulullah salam upon you blessings of Allah upon you يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك वो अता दे तुम अता लो वो वही चाहे जो चाहो क्यों रज़ा मुश्किल से डरिए जब नबी मुश्किल कुशा हो या नबी सलाम अलैका या रसूल सलाम अलैका या हबीब सलाम अलैका सलवातुल्लाह अलैका الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما الله رب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نحن عباد محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله